Toyota Tacoma, Chevy Colorado, the Showdown. A special thank you to Kelly Chevrolet of Fort Wayne, Indiana, and Evans Toyota of Fort Wayne, Indiana. Thanks for your partnership and letting me use your trucks today. Today, we're going to review these trucks from front to back. We're going to take a walk around the outside and look at all of their exterior styling features. Then we're going to get on the inside. We're going to take a look at their technology and the interior features. We'll get them on the road and take them for a drive. And finally, I will give you my final assessments. So let's dig in. Some of you may be wondering, why in the world would I even do a comparison between the Toyota Tacoma to anything else? For decades, the Tacoma has been in a league of its own. It sells a ton of these vehicles every year, but there is new competition from the Chevy Colorado and the Ford Ranger. The Chevy Colorado was voted Motor Trend's 2024 Truck of the Year. The Tacoma was just fully redesigned for 2024. So we're going to take a look at them side by side. So let's dig in. So before we look at these vehicles individually, be sure to click like and subscribe below to make sure you don't miss out on any of my latest car comparisons. The 2024 Chevy Colorado. This was just redesigned this year, and I love the styling. Taking a walk back into history, you look at the Chevy Colorados, it was terrible looking. It was wimpy. It was always the little brother of the Silverado, and you could tell it was tiny. Nobody wanted to be seen in that truck. They have definitely upped their game for this model. Let's take a look at the styling. So you can see from the front, very aggressive grille. There's basically no front bumper here. It is pretty much squared off. The only thing that's chrome here in the front is the Chevy bow tie badge. It has halogen headlights with incandescent turn signals. There are no fog lights here. There is a 360-degree camera on this truck. It was an option. The camera's right there. And it does have the integrated tow hooks from the front. Overall, the styling at the front, it is super aggressive. Here at the side of the Colorado, this one is the Trail Boss trim. And you can see it adds a bunch of extra features, which I'll show you. I love the styling here on the side of the Colorado. It's great. The Trail Boss Edition adds a 2-inch suspension lift from the factory. Makes it much more aggressive, much taller. Trail Boss Edition also adds the side fender flares. They flare out about 3 inches, both in the front and the back. 18-inch black glossy wheels. Comes with the black mirror. Again, this one is optioned with the 360 camera. Also has blind spot monitoring. This one has the option of a side step, which actually, because the truck is lifted, it makes it a little bit easier for short guys like me to get up into the truck. You can see the styling here is pretty aggressive down the side. I think they did a great job with it. And as always, I do the gas door check. This truck is unlocked. Let's see. Yes, very nice job, Chevy, with the gas door. Here at the back, I think GM did a nice job with keeping the styling attractive but simple. Let's take a look. Chevrolet is actually stamped into the steel here on the back. It has a 360-degree camera, which I mentioned. It does have the trailering package, which gets you the 4-pin, 7-pin wiring. Of course, the hitch. This does have the rear backup sensors. The tailgate is an option as this. It's a slow folding up and down tailgate, which is actually really nice. Does have the integrated ruler here on the back. This does not have a spray-in bed liner. Obviously, you can get that both from the factory and aftermarket. There's no power outlets here, but there's a ton of tie-down hooks. Overall, they kept it simple but functional. And one additional thing that Chevy has added to their pickup trucks over the last 6-7 years is the integrated step, the bumper step. I really like that. It makes getting into these so much easier. You'll see the Tacoma also has that, but it's a drop down. I like how they're integrated into the bumper with the Chevy. Here getting in the Colorado. Overall, my first impression is that it feels nice in here. Of course, it's a new truck, but it feels nice. It feels modern. There is a lot of plastic here, a lot of screen, but overall, I like the design. I think they did a nice job modernizing this truck with this redesign. So here in the driver's seat, you can see there is an 11-inch driver information display, which is very highly configurable. There's a lot of choices on here. Right now, it's set to map view. This has Google navigation built in. You can change the screens around to show a lot of different things. There's way more data on here than most people will ever even look at, but I really do like the fact that it's customizable, or that you can change the different views, especially when you're actively using the navigation. It's really helpful to have it here on the driver's information display rather than having to look at the middle screen. Um, Over here, the power windows are only automatic up and down with the driver's window. Once you get into higher level trims, it makes it all the windows. It does have the integrated brake controller as well as the dash dimmer. Of course, this is a push button start. Most vehicles are going to that these days. Um, Here in the middle, you have an 11.3 inch horizontally mounted display. I am currently connected to Apple CarPlay. It does have wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto. I will say in the GM EVs, they have discontinued Apple CarPlay and Android Auto in favor of their native navigation and native system, and that mostly is due to charging. But I'm glad that they haven't abandoned it here in the Colorado. So this truck as equipped, it has a lot of options, but this truck as equipped is almost $45,000. The one thing that is a must for me on every vehicle that I buy is automatic climate control. What that is it allows the car to control the fan speed and whether it needs to get cooler and hotter just by the temperature that you set. This particular truck does not have that. It is manual. So you're going to be constantly finding yourself turning the fan speed up and down, adjusting the temperature up and down. Really, for this price point, I would have thought that there would be automatic climate control regardless of the trim level. But that's really just something for me. It's one of my pet peeves here. But you can see down here on the bottom, we've got the automatic start stop, the hazards, and lane keeping assist. I will say this screen is actually very responsive. There's a lot of different things you can do on here. The off-road app, everything you do, everything you touch, it's extremely responsive. Very happy with that and how the touch screen works. Down here in the middle, of course, you have an electronic parking brake. It does have the different drive modes. Right now, it's in two-wheel drive only. It'll get you the best gas mileage that way. But it does come with, the auto all-wheel drive or auto four-wheel drive. Here it does have a USB-C and a USB-A port. Two cup holders here in the middle with a little slot for your phone. Down here is just a little cubby with the upgraded trim levels, or it can come as an option as well. That could be a wireless charging pad. Here in the center console, your center armrest, little cubby thing here, you can take it out. But a fairly deep storage bin. It is small. It is a smaller truck, so I wouldn't expect it to be huge. But overall, the styling up here, I like the styling a lot. Here in the Trail Boss edition, it does have a lot of hard plastics and things like that, which do get upgraded once you get into the higher trim levels. So here in the back, I'm 5'7". This seat is a little ways back here. I've got maybe 2-3 inches of knee room here on this seat. Let's face it, these trucks I'm reviewing are mid-size trucks. They're not full-size trucks. You're not going to get as much room in the back. But I will say this, there's much more room back here than there ever used to be in all of the mid-size trucks. Years ago, you used to have those seats that were sideways and there were no rear doors. They've done a nice job in this segment overall to add a rear seat with rear doors. You're going to get, adults back here that are probably under 6 foot. Anything over 6 foot, you're going to have to push the seat way up and you're going to struggle for headroom. It's just the nature of the size of this segment. But back here, we do have cloth seats throughout this truck, but it does have the middle heating and air conditioning vents, and there are no charging ports in the Trail Boss edition. But the addition of the air conditioning vents there is nice. Most trucks this size, this segment, don't have that. So that's a really nice feature of this. This does come optioned with the sliding rear glass. It is manual, not electric. And these seats do fold up. I'll show you that in just a moment. With the seats folded up, there is some storage down here. The jack and the handle for the jack is down there. But you'd be able to store some things. Not a ton of space, but there's some. That's kind of nice. Lifting these seats is a two-handed operation. There's a lever here in the back where it goes up and down. You cannot do this with one hand. But overall, I like the fact that they included that in this truck. The engine in this Colorado is a 2.7 liter 4-cylinder turbocharged engine. This makes 310 horsepower. The base engine, which comes in the LT and the WT trims, which is the work truck trim, gets 237 horsepower, which is not a little bit, but this one has 310 horsepower. This truck will get up and go. So here driving the Colorado, it's definitely a truck. Right? There's no way around it. You're going to feel bumps more than you're going to feel them in a car. This certainly rides very high. I bet this is almost the same height with the 2-inch lift, same height as you'd get in a traditional Silverado. Overall, it's a great drive. Now I'm only going about 35 miles per hour, but overall, it's a really nice drive. So if there's one thing that I'm going to be critical of while driving this Colorado is because it is lifted, you get a higher view, right? That's a good thing. I do think the ride is a little bit rougher. Yes, it's absorbing some of the bumps, but some of the undulations in the road or the leanings of the road cause you to lean a bit. So not sure if that's because it's the the off-road package, or I'm not sure exactly, but I think it could be a little bit better with maybe the body lean and absorbing some of what the road is giving you. Not just the bumps or the imperfections in the road, but just some of the other things while I'm driving, I feel. For $44,000-ish, I feel like you could have more features in here. I think they did a good job with the styling. I like the technology in here. I think they did a great job with that. But cloth seats, no heated seats, no heated steering wheel. Some of the things that I think would be included with a $44,000 or $45,000 truck are not. So that's one thing that I would point out as probably something that I'm critical of. So even though this is a truck, I'm going almost 50 miles per hour. We are at like 62 decibels. Chevy, good job with doing the sound deadening because that is very quiet for a truck. So I'm going to be making a U-turn here and I'm really going to get after it. I'm going to see how good a horsepower this thing has. Pretty good for a truck, I'll say that. 4-cylinder. I don't think you're going to miss the 6-cylinder in this vehicle. That was surprisingly quick. I believe the 0 to 60 time in this truck, configured like it is 7 seconds. That was pretty quick. Now it doesn't throw your head back like a Tesla would, or maybe that Ford Explorer I drove, but it's got good enough power. Certainly enough power and torque to tow, but also just for your everyday driving, I don't think you're going to want for more. So my overall driving impressions of this Colorado is it's much more mature than I thought it was going to be. I thought the ride was going to be much rougher. Now you'll see a little bit of shaking there. I went over a pretty bad bump. It is a truck after all, so it does absorb the bumps fairly well, better than I thought it would, but it doesn't absorb them as well as a car. It is a truck after all. I can't expect it to ride like a car. But overall, my driving impressions is that they did a really nice job redesigning this. Again, the part that I'm critical of is just maybe the price point with the features you get. But as far as the daily drivability of this car and the ability to take it out on the road, out on the highway, I think this would be an excellent vehicle long-term for drivability, for a ride. So some of you might ask, would I buy this over buying a full-size Silverado? Now, obviously there's quite a bit of price difference, right? You're probably every bit of $8,000 to $15,000 price difference, maybe even more, depending on the package you get. I am not in construction. So for me, if I wanted a truck and I wanted it to be affordable, but I wanted it to have all the features and I wanted it to be rugged enough, this would be a really good option. You're not paying as much money for it. It's really comfortable to drive. It would get better gas mileage than the Silverado. I wouldn't be ashamed to drive in this Colorado like I was ashamed of the old trucks. Ultimately, this is a really nice truck for the money, and I would own this. The 2024 Toyota Tacoma TRD Off-Road trim. This is quite an attractive truck. For the last couple of decades, the Tacoma has been a good-looking mid-size truck. Honestly, it blew away the competition as far as looks. The competition is now catching up, but Toyota, with this latest version, has made this truck even more aggressive and even better looking. Let's take a look. You can see at the front end, super aggressive, carries on from the last generation. It has LED projector headlamps. It has incandescent turn signals, LED fog lights. The grille is very aggressive. This is a like a matte black finish. You can see the Toyota emblem is chrome. This does have a bit of a stick out for the bumper. Could be because it's the off-road version. It does have the front parking sensors as well as the rear parking sensors. It also has integrated tow hooks underneath, which you can't see. But overall, the front end styling is super aggressive, and I like it. Here on the side, you can see the aggressive styling continues. Let's take a look. You can see it has the black fender flares, both on the front and the back. The suspension is slightly lifted in this TRD off-road trim. It has 17-inch matte black wheels. This one came optioned with the side steps, which are actually a really nice option for a truck. This does have the integrated turn signals. They are heated, also blind spot monitoring in the side. These are body color. Overall, I like the styling a lot. Toyota decided to go old school with the gas door. The truck is unlocked. You can open this. When the truck is locked, you can open this. If you're worried about someone stealing your gas, you're going to need to get a locking gas cap. So here at the back, you can see Toyota, like Chevy, made it fairly simple back here. You can see Tacoma is actually stamped into the steel of the tailgate. This does have the rear backup camera, not 360 degree, but it has a rear backup camera. It does have the 4-pin and 7-pin trailer wiring ports. Of course, a trailer hitch. This one does have the tailgate lowering, does not have a ruler on the back, which is a little gimmicky anyway. This does have the bed liner, which was an option. This truck is very heavily optioned, and I'll try to point those things out to you. But the bed liner was an option. There's a little cubby over there, as well as the power inverter was an option. There's a full AC 120 400 watt plug over there. There are 4 strap down hooks here in the back. Overall, this tailgate is not very heavy. It's very easy to lift up. You don't really need it to be power. But you can see the tail lights on this, unlike the Colorado. These ones are LED, full LED tail lights, which I like. They're a lot brighter at night and cool looking. Like I mentioned, this truck actually has a number of available options. It does make the price quite a bit higher, which I'll review at the very end. But a couple of the options that are nice here is it does have quite a generous power inverter plug back here. And in this little cubby is another 12 volt and a couple of USB-C ports. This one does have the bed lighting package, which costs a few $100s, but you can see it's on the outside and also on the inside of the bed and up there by the 3rd stoplight. Overall, back styling and the options, very nice. The one thing I also showed on the Colorado, which I mentioned, is this does have the bumper step. You can see it's kind of folded up underneath. What you do is you just simply put your foot down on it. It comes down for ease of access into the bed. You do have to manually fold it back up. You're getting in the Tacoma. I like the step on the outside, helps get in. But my very first impression is, wow, this is really cool. The blue accents, the rugged feel of all of the switches and buttons, huge technology screens. Overall, super rugged, super cool. Here in the driver's seat, steering wheel is leather wrapped, feels very, very luxurious. A ton of buttons on here for all your cruise control, lane keeping assist, all your safety features, as well as all of your audio over here and the menu system. This does have an 11-inch driver's information display. It is somewhat customizable. I do like it. It's very bright. You can adjust the brightness over here on the left. And there's a ton of buttons over here. This does have the package that gives you some auxiliary switches here. Love that feature. A lot of people put on the exterior LED lights and a lot of different things. You can just hook it right up into those auxiliary buttons. I love it. This does have the switches on the driver's door that makes the windows go up and down automatically. So you can see here in the middle, the screen is absolutely huge. It's a 14-inch. This is an upgrade. It's a 14-inch multimedia screen here. I have Apple CarPlay connected. As you can see, the map is actually monstrous. The one thing that the Colorado has over the Tacoma is you can put the map up here on your driver information display. You can't do that on the Tacoma. I am all for large screens in the center. Every car review I've done, I make comments on it. The Hondas are behind and the Toyotas have been doing a good job and things like that, and the Fords and the Chevys. This might be just a touch too big. I never thought I would say that about a screen in a car, but I think this is just, it's massive. I probably could use it to be maybe 2 or 3 inches smaller. That said, It's nice, right? It shows you a ton of information. The one thing I am not a huge fan of the Toyota multimedia screens is that by default, the background is white. It's not very, not very clear. It's not very attractive. You can change it to where it is the black, so you have the black background. I do ultimately like that better. Um, the screen is slightly lagging, so the response time when you're pressing the buttons, unfortunately, is a little bit slower than the Chevy. Well, a little slower than I'd like, but you can see here the map is set for dark, right? So ultimately, I think this is a lot better. Even during the day, I think this is better. So to continue on here down to the middle, again, their styling is definitely rugged and rough, and they want it to be that way. You can see here's the power and the volume for the radio. This does have automatic climate control, which obviously I really like. It has heated steering wheel as well as heated seats. These are cloth seats, but they're heated, which I like. Down here, it is optioned with the wireless charging pad. It does have 2 USB-C ports and a 12-volt outlet. You have your drive mode selector here, as well as your electronic parking brake. It does have 2 cup holders here in the middle, and does have an okay size cubby here inside the armrest. The glove box is over here on the right. Overall, the styling of this, I like it a lot. The blue texture, the ruggedness, the coolness, I think it's really nice. It does have a moonroof here as well. The Colorado did not. Here in the back of the Tacoma, you can see I have a fairly decent amount of legroom. It's just slightly more than the Colorado had. This seat might be up a little bit farther. Similar to the Colorado, it is a back seat of a mid-sized truck, so again, they're not huge. There is a power inverter. This was an option on this truck, so it's a regular household outlet here, as well as 2 USB-C ports. I would have liked to have seen the air conditioning vents back here like they had in the Colorado, but that's not even an option on the Tacoma. This does have the power sliding rear window, was also an option. Overall, the back seat, I have a little more headroom. They put the headliner and made it go up. A little more headroom than in the Colorado. Legroom is similar to the Colorado. Again, it is cloth seats. I like the 2-tone color of the seats, the styling here. I think overall they did a great job here in the back seat with space with what the size of the truck is. So like the Colorado, this has underseat storage. The Tacoma's is a little easier to get at. It is a one-handed operation, and the storage underneath is quite a bit larger than the Colorado had. So one thing that Toyota did fix with the Tacoma, in the previous generation, shorter people like me always had an issue with being able to reach the steering wheel comfortably. They had to drive a lot with their hands down here. And the reason why was the steering wheel only telescoped about 2 inches. They fixed that issue here. You can telescope this probably at least 3 or 4 inches. It makes it a little bit easier. There's a little more travel up and down. Makes it a little bit easier for shorter drivers like me to be able to get your hands on the top of the steering wheel and have your seat in the correct position for your foot pedals. The Toyota Tacoma now only comes with a 2.4 liter 4-cylinder engine. You can get the upper level packages with a hybrid engine. This one is not. It's the 2.4 liter turbo. Does produce 278 horsepower. A lot of these truck manufacturers are going to 4 cylinders over the 6 cylinders because of the demands of the government and with mileage, things like that. But this truck does not lack for power. So here driving the Tacoma, you get a similar feel, of course, right? It's lifted just like the Colorado was lifted. So you get a good ride height. Ultimately, it feels like you're in a much larger truck than you are as far as height goes. I will say the fit and finish in this one, it is a bit more expensive, the truck, but the fit and finish and the styling in this, I mentioned it before, it's very rugged. It's very cool feeling. You kind of feel cool driving it, right? It's meant to give that kind of vibe both on the inside and the outside. And I think overall, it's going to cater to a person that is looking for more of that feel. So just driving it, we're only going 35 miles per hour right now. But my initial take is that this doesn't absorb the bumps quite as well as the Colorado did. And that could just be because this is the TRD off-road package. This truck has very good off-road statistics, which most people will never even take this off-road once. They might drive in their grass. That might be it. But as a result, you're going to get a little bit more of the road imperfections reverberating into the cabin. And I would say I've experienced that already. But again, this Focus with the TRD off-road package, not quite as nice of a ride as the Colorado. Still okay. It is a truck, but just not quite as nice as the Colorado. So even though I did just say, you know, not quite as nice as the Colorado, the Colorado is going to have a buyer and the Tacoma is going to have a buyer. The Tacoma is an extremely reliable vehicle, one of the top rated reliability and top resale value in its entire history. So if you're getting a little more cost conscious buyer, as far as long-term cost conscious, you know, they're going to look at that reliability. They're going to look at that resale value. They might say, it's a truck. I don't really care if it rides quite as nice as the Colorado. I'm going to, you know, do better long-term. To each his own, right? That's everybody's personal preference. If you're looking for a buyer that's looking for a little bit more of a comfortable ride, they're probably going to go with the Colorado. So we're going down the road at almost 50. As I expected, this has a little bit more road noise and wind noise. They were getting about 67 decibels going about 50 miles per hour. I don't have the ability to take it up on the highway today, but that number doesn't really surprise me. Again, given what I'm feeling, what I'm hearing, this truck jostles you more than the Colorado does. Overall, I love the drive, right? It's much more of a rugged feel, much more tuned towards being off-road than it is on the road. So I'm going to make a U-turn here like I did in the Colorado, and let's get after this. This is also a turbo 4-cylinder. Certainly you can hear the engine. It is the 4-cylinder. It's got enough power. I would definitely say the Colorado got up to speed much faster. I don't think you're going to lack for power every day. There might be a time or two when you try to beat somebody off the line, or maybe you're trying to merge in that you wish you had a little bit more power than this. And if that's the case, you might need to upgrade to the truck that's got the trim level that's got the hybrid motor, because that's going to give you a little bit more horsepower, a little bit more instantaneous torque. This has enough power for everyday driving. It honestly does. On that rare occasion that you need a little bit more, you're not going to have it. But unfortunately, that's the downfall of a 4-cylinder, right? That's naturally aspirated, no hybrid. That's just what you get. So things that I like and don't like about the Tacoma. I like the technology this car has, I got to be honest, right? The screen, I think I said I could use for it to be just a couple inches smaller. But the overall technology in this with the adaptive cruise control, Toyota's latest safety sensing, all the tech you get in here as far as the automatic climate control, heated seats, heated steering wheel, all that stuff. I really like that. I like a lot of technology in my car. You're going to pay for that ultimately, right? So there's two things that I'm going to be critical of this Tacoma for. One is I'm a little bit older. I'm not a young guy. I care about the ride in a truck, and this ride in this truck is fairly harsh. Again, it's the off-road package, and it'll make it a little bit more harsh, but it's a little bit more harsh. I'd like a little bit more comfort. The second thing I'm going to be critical of this truck for is just the sheer price. It's $55,000. Again, you've got thousands of dollars of options. Some of it's technology, but some of it's just things like the bed liner and the lighting and that type of stuff. But I'm going to be critical of the price. This is an expensive truck. So my overall impressions of this Tacoma. They did a great job with the redesign. They've kept it rugged. They've kept it aggressive. The blue accents in here are cool. The rotary knobs, I really like how they've stuck to what's worked for them in the past. So my overall impressions are coolness, ruggedness, like the look. They're catering to somebody in this version of the truck, somebody that likes that cool look, that likes the ruggedness of this. They're also going to cater to people that want the reliability and want the resale. So my overall opinion of this truck, it's a great truck. They're going to sell a ton of these. These things are going to hold their value for a long time. You really can't go wrong with this truck unless you want a little bit softer of a ride. So there you have it. We've taken a walk around the outside of these trucks and looked at all of their exterior styling features. Then we've gotten inside and we've looked at the technology and the interior features. Then we've taken them for a drive. I give the nod to the Colorado for its drivability. It's quiet. It takes the bumps fairly well, really well for a truck. And overall, it would be a great vehicle to be an everyday driver and to be taken out on long distance trips. I give the nod to the Tacoma for its rugged good looks. In this TRD off-road package, it looks really rugged looking and it looks cool. So I give it the nod for its great looks. I also give the nod to the Colorado for bang for your buck. And I know I said while I was driving that I feel like for the money you pay for this, you could have gotten more features. And I still believe that's true. But the pricing overall is more value minded than it is in the Tacoma. As they sit right now, they are $10,000 difference in price. The Tacoma has a lot of added on features. If you got rid of most of those features, except the TRD off-road package, you're looking at about $3,000 or $4,000 difference for a similarly equipped vehicle. GM has done an amazing job with the redesign of their Colorado. This is going to give the Tacoma a run for its money. But I will say this, there are just too many Tacoma loyalists out there for the Colorado to even think it can compete with them as far as their sales figures go. The other edge that the Tacoma has over the Colorado is in its reliability and its resale. The reliability figures for the new Colorado are TBD, right? It's a brand new vehicle with a new drivetrain. We don't know how it's going to be long term. We know how the Tacomas have performed in the past. They've been extremely reliable and their resale has been second to none. So if you've liked this video comparison, be sure to click like and subscribe below to make sure you don't miss out on all my latest car comparisons. I know which one of these I would buy. Which one would you buy? Be sure to let me know in the comments below.
This is the Chevy Colorado Trail Boss. It has a 2.7 liter turbo 4-cylinder engine. It produces 310 horsepower with 430 pound-feet of torque. It has an 8-speed automatic transmission, and it comes with the Chevy Safety Assist system, which includes forward collision alert, lane keeping assist with lane departure warning, automatic emergency braking, front pedestrian and bicyclist braking, rear pedestrian alert, and adaptive cruise control. It gets 18, 23, and 20 miles per gallon in the city, highway, and combined. The MSRP for this truck is $44,205. This is the Toyota Tacoma TRD Pro. Comes with the 2.4 liter 4-cylinder turbocharged engine that produces 278 horsepower with 317 pound-feet of torque. Comes with an 8-speed automatic transmission. It comes equipped with the Toyota Safety Sense 3.0 system, which includes pedestrian detection, dynamic radar cruise control, lane departure alert with lane keeping assist, road sign assist, lane tracing assist, collision avoidance, blind spot monitoring, and rear cross traffic alert. It gets 19, 23, and 21 miles per gallon in the city, highway, and combined. The MSRP for this truck is $53,434.